let's talk about the chip stocks because Qualcomm, Nvidia, AMD. There's it's been a very competitive year, and like I said, just the greater chip ecosystem as far as ASML, TSM. It's been a lot going on.
We can't put Qualcomm in this. That's competitive with them.
No, well,
not the T bill.
As far as the as far as the the whole landscape of it, Broadcom, a variety of different things, and AMD is on fire for sure. And it's it's interesting about the AMD comment because Dave Shands was on Market Mondays a few months ago, and he was actually saying thank you because he was put into an AMD option from a recommendation, Market Monday's recommendation, and he's up probably 300%.
That was at the Houston book tour show, right?
Yeah.
I think that was before that, actually.
No, we was in the car coming from the Houston stop.
Yeah, because he was talking about it in the dressing room.
We had just if we watch the Market Mondays, I just did a presentation on why I'm thinking AMD is going to have its moment, and then when we saw him in Houston, and then it pulled back. And he felt the way, and we said, "Look, bro,
risk control." You told him how much Shadi to invest and not invest in the Trump coin weekend. That was a legendary,
it's a moment, bro.
Well, it was his first time trading option.
Yeah,
yep.
So I had to actually, get his phone and show him how to trade an option.
Yep.
And then he wanted to put more, which in hindsight, obviously, he would have made money. But I was just saying, like, don't put risk too much into it because. If things do go south, you don't want your first trade to leave like a bag,
never come back.
Facing the whole situation. So, but long story short, it was a whole walkthrough process of how to actually do it. This is how you actually go about it. This is, with a contract, you buy one contract, you buy two contracts. And so Dave Shan, somebody that actually had firsthand experience as far as with that AMD trade, and he made a lot of money, still is making money. But that being said, there's a lot of people that have made money. EYL University, if you remember, Troy does his options class, and he's talked about MU, ASML, TSM, a bunch of these different chip stocks. So the question now is that if you study any stocks come down after they go up. That's the nature of it. So people that are up very big on their AMD options, on their MU options, and even if it's a leap, if they're out to 2027, what you would think, even if it comes down, they still got more time to go back up. Like, is it time to start taking money, or is it enough time to just let it sit and still build?
Good question. I think this is part of that the part where what's your plan? I'll give you a perfect example. We've been in Micron since December of last year when we were talking about it here on Market Mondays.
Yep.
We watched those contracts climb. We watched those contracts depreciate first. Let's just get that out the way, right? So when we had Micron, I think it was like the 110 call, originally the 130 call, and then Micron fell down to 100. Then we got the 110 call, then Micron fell down to 87. Some people grabbed it down there. I said, we're not moving. This is why we buy time, because I believe in the company. I understand what the company does. I understand the fundamentals. I understand the space that it has. Fast forward to where it's at now, hitting its all-time high at 225 this morning. Have we hit our thresholds? And so that first threshold for me is always, let me grab multiple contracts. I know some people were like, well, I can only buy one. That's great. Well, the next time, let's buy two at the minimum. Why? Because I want 100%. So once I get 100% from that call, I take my initial investment out, and I like to let the rest run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, forever?
Well, I'm about to go there. So then the next threshold is, can we get 100% again? So now it's 200. All right, if we get to 200%, I have a threshold. All right, well, I'm gonna take something off the table. If we get to 3, so like this Micron
great question, Rashad.
This Micron call has now got, I'm at like 600%.
So so every time you get 100%, you're scaling contracts.
I'm scaling.
So you start with 10 contracts. Let's say
I start with 20.
Okay. You start with 20 contracts.
Yeah.
You take 10 after that first, then that leaves 10.
Yep.
Then you take 3 because that 10 is you can't take 5. Well, you take 5. You take 5.
Sometimes.
And
because sometimes it'll appreciate so high that it might take me 2 contracts to get my initial back, right? So they'll say like, hey, it's worth $570. Well, I'm like, well, what did I buy it for initially? Right? It might have been, I don't know, $275. All right, so how many? I need to sell 2 contracts to get that back. Or I'll just say, you know what? I'm gonna let it ride. In fact, if I'm watching the company, so like Micron is a good example, when it gets to 160, I'm looking at the 170 call. I've already made money here. I took my initial investment out. I use some of that initial investment now to reinvest because the company, I don't think is slowing down, right? Once it gets to 175, 180, we're looking at where can we reposition again. We did this in the car the other day with TSM. I'm like, look, we're going to grab TSM at 285. Why? Bro, trust me, we're grabbing at 285. It's pulled back here from the 300 number. They got their catalyst event coming up. The market's not slowing down. The Fed rate is about to get cut twice. We're rolling into the fourth quarter. The Santa Claus rally looks like it's going to be in effect. We have to win this AI space. This is not a company versus company. This is a national security. They have a key cog in this ecosystem. We're grabbing it. We did. So I'm watching thresholds as we go and saying, okay, here's a place for profit. Here's a place to reinvest. Profit, reinvest. And so like when I do these calls and people watch, they're like, wait, you got a bunch of those contracts. I'm like, yeah, this is how we stack them, right? So when I talk about my option stacks, I'm looking at, look, I got 5 MU calls, right? But they've all been stacked out
on top of each other.
The other day, we were going over it in the car. I'm like, yo, I got to reposition. I don't got till 2027. And I'm asking this guy, he's like, oh, you don't? I'm like, he's out into 2027 right now. I'm like, damn, bet, right? So like, people have their own strategies and they're saying, all right, that call makes sense. What he said makes sense. I understand the fundamentals because how he broke it down. Here's how I'm going to invest in it, right? I'm actually going to buy more time than Troy did, which is great. I'm not mad at that. So it's all about having your plan, being strategic about it, understanding that there will be pullbacks, but that's also time to say, hey, I can reinvest if it's a strong company. And the companies that we're saying, I'm not just saying them. I spoke about this last night. I'm researching these at least 3 to 6 months before I ever talk about them on Market Mondays. Yep. In fact, I gave 2 companies yesterday, Ian, that I haven't spoken about.
Yep.
Right? Fact, right? One, I didn't even give them the fundamentals. I said, here's the ticker.
Yeah.
And then when you look up the research on it, you'll understand why I'm telling you this. So there's an amount of research that goes into it. There's an amount of conviction that goes into it, but there's a strategy that goes into it as well.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the benefits of being at EYL University is that you get that options call once a month, and that's over 2 hours in the online community as far as the app. And shout out to Dahuda and all of the people that's in the app that's really adding the values. And, it's one of these things. I mean, you can only go over so much over a 2-hour conversation at Market Mondays, so we got to talk about 15 different topics. It's kind of hard to really spend 45 minutes just talking about one particular option strategy, but there's a lot that goes into it. And the good thing with EY University is that Troy, he actually says the calls that he's in himself. So, anything is possible. It's not a guarantee, but I mean, you're literally, you're riding in the same car that he does. So, it's a vested interest that the thing works out because, I mean, he has money on the line just like you do. So that's one of the great things with EY University. And then even the meetup like we had like in DC, that community is something that's vitally important as far as those regional chapters that we have, and everybody that's been pouring into EY University has really grown and blossomed into something that's extremely impressive. So I want to thank Magda and everybody that's a part of EY University from the administrative staff standpoint. It's run like a real institution. Vitally important. Access to information is vitally important. Even when we went to Nvidia last year, and we went to Nvidia, it's a very rare opportunity. It's extremely rare opportunity to, be able to tour Nvidia's campus. And we got that opportunity for over 90 minutes, and they were showing us, the machines that's currently out, the machines that's going to come out in the future. And they was giving us the roadmap of the next, 10 years as far as how they see things, how they're seeing their business model. And it gave us a lot more confidence even than we had already, because we got to actually, talk to executives. We got to walk the campus. We got to actually see it. So that level of access is like, it's almost invaluable. Like, you really, sometimes in life, you really can't even pay
Yeah.
to have that. And even AMD, like, that was something that we, you know, we got, we were in conversations with people that's extremely high level in Silicon Valley. And they were saying like how confident they were in AMD last year, because they're like, look, Nvidia just is too much work for one company to handle. So when it spills over, AMD is perfectly positioned because they're the second company. And this is somebody that's a senior executive in a Fortune 10 company. And he was telling us this information about AMD last year. And it was like, you know, it played out. Mike Novogratz, another one. He told us, you know,
step-by-step blueprint.
He said, I'm putting all my money in gold and Bitcoin. And, you know, just talking to one of his friends the other day, and it's public knowledge that Mike Novogratz, I don't know if you've known, but in the last 8 months, he's made $6 billion. His net worth has grown $6 billion over the last year to date.
Yep.
So access to information. So it's like, that's why it's like, you know, if you don't get distracted, you can't get distracted. Because man, it's moving, the world is moving so quickly, but man, this access to information is vitally important